Hey, true believers, Englentine here with part 2 of our Thursday night broadcast live stream. We did 5 hours. I'm cutting it down to bite-sized chunks. In this one, we start to talk about our review and breakdown of Star Wars The Last Jedi. In this instance, we're asking, is it really a social justice warrior movie, as well as giving our thoughts about it. And we also talk about getting dragged into the whole argument and what it's like when you get barraged with hate because you disagree with somebody. As a sidebar, Chef Jack brings up Ethan Van Sciver and the fact that he was jumping into the fray. We found out he was trolling in a segment that's going to come up a little bit later. We talk about Admiral Hodor and a little bit of how this movie is kind of SJW. So kick back, relax, and enjoy. Comics, you did a video.
I did.
You have a lot to say about it, so I'm going to let you have the opening salvo. And one of the things we're talking about is it a SJW movie and such, but I also want to talk about the quality of the film overall. So, but just go ahead. You got the opening salvo?
Okay, sure. So one of the things I was working on was an actual review of the movie, which I ended up scrapping. I just didn't like it. Sometimes I feel like I just kind of ramble on and shit. So there was a couple.
Oh, I do whole videos of rambling.
I don't know. Like I said, it just wasn't working for me, so I ditched it. But there was a follow-up video I did want to do to it, which was talking about the movie. Is it a feminist / SJW movie? And my personal feelings on it were no. I think that a lot of the reason why people are saying this is because of the current political climate with the whole thing with the alt-left and alt-right and Trump and all this crap. But I didn't really see that in the movie. You had one character in there, which I think is what everyone points to, which was Vice Admiral Holdo. And
Laura Dern's character.
Yeah, Laura Dern's character.
Yeah.
And she comes in with this purple hair. And my first thoughts watching the movie was, oh my God, it's like they have a blue-haired feminist in this movie. And, you know, there's some stuff that goes on. And the reality is, whether if it was a male or a female, the actions of that character would have been the same. And the outcome is this side trek where they go to this casino planet and basically waste, I guess, like 30 to 40 minutes.
Oh, my gosh. They could have had so much story.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of problems with this movie. But I didn't see it as a SJW or feminist movie. I do think there is definitely a lot of progressive politics in the movie. And I do think that Disney is probably more pandering towards women than men these days. I think that is kind of their brand, though. You have the Disney princesses, and I think that's the reason why they were, yes, gender studies. I thought Sargon got a good laugh out of me when he said Admiral Gender Studies. That was pretty freaking hilarious. But overall, I mean,
so if I hear that in my comment section, it's nobody being original. They're quoting Sargon.
Yeah, for the most part. So I think Sargon was the one who actually coined the whole thing. But there's, as a movie, just critiquing the movie, there is a lot of problems with the movie. The first thing was the white Bronco chase.
Before you get into that, I want to add to the SJW thing. When Laura Dern showed up with purple hair, I didn't think anything of it because in Return of the Jedi, we got a full-on green woman with tentacle green hair. I mean, it was like, okay, it's freaking space. We got aliens running around with humans. Somebody with pink hair shouldn't make you go, oh my God, she's got fucking pink hair.
Yeah, and I have to agree with Comic Boom. She didn't look like an admiral. She looked really out of place to me, and that was one of the things that pulled me out of the movie.
Yeah, I agree with that. She did look like she was going to a nightclub rather than
if she was
any kind of war.
In command of a starship, a warship even. Why the hell wasn't she in a uniform?
Exactly.
She was in an evening gown. I haven't even seen the movie yet. I have not yet seen the movie yet, but I know enough about it to say that much. She was in an evening gown. What military commander? I don't know. I guess you got to go all the way back to Hypatia, who was in charge of one of the armies of Athens during the Peloponnesian War. She was probably the last female military commander to wear a dress in the battlefield.
But that actually makes sense because it's period.
Well, yeah. But why
Unicornalicious here makes a good point. I'm sorry to say that comic fans are starting to become what they hate about SJWs. They say SJWs look to be insulted. Well, so are we now. Days with SJW comic stuff, and I agree with that. That's why
absolutely.
I call it chasing ghost, and I would like to say thank you. Yes, I'm the first one who freaking did that too. Anyway,
chasing the SJW ghost.
Chasing the SJW ghost. We are, this entire site is, and there's some of us who have actually become social justice warriors in the way we use the victim card.
Englentine and I have been talking for a while. You may notice in our reviews, yeah, we'll talk about quote unquote SJW Marvel, but then you listen to our reviews and we're like, no, this book was horrible because it was badly written. If we mention the identity politics, it's because a story that shouldn't have any is dripping with them. So we don't go looking, because I watch certain other people, and I'm not going to name names because there's tons of them who they'll be
they're naming names in the comments. Boom.
Yeah, well, but they get their microscopes out and they go over every single page of a comic, going, is that a? She looks like a feminist. I guess this is an SJ. Yeah, and it's like, well, how can you tell just by looking at a woman or a guy? For that
I understand that, I understand because I mentioned it, a while back, that once you get hit so many times, whenever anybody reaches for the salt, and that has started happening to us.
That's the thing that really bothers me, is the fact that, okay, a woman in charge dresses down a guy and suddenly that's feminism. That it's the fault of feminism. It's like, if you swap the characters out, it doesn't freaking matter. So yeah, I think people are going for the victim card here on stuff.
Oh, by the way, I have to read this because it's too damn funny. Walter Davies says DNC is TMZ. Okay, I'm just gonna. All right, the Waffle Davies said that. Okay, there you go.
No,
Samurai.
The sad one. I will name one name, and it's only one name, and it's because it's so sad. I'm watching Ethan Van Sciver's Twitter feed.
You think he's
I'm
looking
watching?
for him?
No.
Here's the
I'm
thing.
watching him getting more and more.
He's being dragged in.
Vitruvious. Yeah, it's inch by inch, and he's letting other people do it. Where he's getting more and more acidic.
You remember what we got when we disagreed with DNC?
Yeah, I do.
And everybody jumped down because you made a mistake. You were arguing about something with Cummings, and instead you used Diversity's name.
Yes.
And for a week we got hammered. Now he's a professional comic writer, artist, and he's getting hammered constantly.
And the nanosecond I found out I made the mistake, I apologized, but still you got hammered.
But point being is Ethan is being dragged into it just the same, because I mean, I didn't even know who Ethan Van Sciver really was, and I made a video a while back defending him because he was being called Nazi.
Yeah.
And this is a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago. It's like in March or something like that. So he's been getting it long before we brought this group together, but we had a community talking about it.
Yeah.
Basically, if you look for the SJW tropes, you find it says Maranya. If you don't look for it, you can see. Okay. Sorry. It went back here. Oh, and also, I'm sorry, I forget who said this, but
the reason I brought up
Disney bought Star Wars to appeal to the guys, yet now they're appealing to
princesses uberales. The reason I brought Ethan Van Sciver up, though, the point I wanted to make is, you remember what he said when he came on and talked to us when he was on one of our live cast? He said, well, he likes to keep himself above it all. He's not going to allow himself to be dragged down.
He's being dragged.
And now here he is.
But the thing is we tried to do the same thing.
But that was the point. If you get
weaponized,
if you get hit often enough, you either start flinching or you start hitting back. And the minute you start hitting back,
Weaponized Nerd has a live stream somewhere on his channel with me in the middle of it, and I'm really quiet, and then he says one thing, and I blow right the freaking hell up, because you try. You get hit so often, you just, that's fucking it. I'm done with it. And you just, and I lost it on his live stream.
Oh, believe me.
That was pretty epic.
Yeah. Believe me, I understand. Do you remember that couple of weeks where I was like, I don't want to have to deal with the people in our comment section anymore. And you were like, why? And I said, because the next time I hear somebody paint every single living liberal on the planet as if we are all a single-minded, can't think for ourselves, only have one opinion among the 11 million, however many of us there are, no differences of opinions, we all share the same thing, and we all think the worst. The next time I hear that, I'm going to send out a hitman. And you were like, well, geez, dude, it's, you know that you don't think that way. Calm down. Yeah. And I'm like, well, well, it's easy after the first 9 times.
After a while, it does. But I've told you before, save the tweets and make a video, man. That's the whole thing. So anyway, back to the Star Wars thing, because we're a little bit off of it. But it is that way where we do see things coming, but there are moments and pieces of this movie that do kind of pander to the social justice crowd. So this isn't a complete black and white to me. That's why I made the video saying, tell me why you think it's a social justice movie. And by the way, I saw Doug Ernst's video. I saw just some guy's video. If they want to chime in, let them chime in. Do not video by telling me to go see their video. Tell me your opinion. I
agree with that.
If they want to put their opinion in, let them. But you put your opinion in. Okay, I'm sorry, comics.
Yes, okay. Yeah, I saw, like I said, I saw both Sargon and just some guys' videos, and I thought they were pretty good reviews. Also, there is the wisecrack kind of breakdown of the themes of the movie, which I think is more what he was going for. I do think that Rian Johnson was trying to go for a bit of a deconstruction of Star Wars, which absolutely does not work with the movie. And so I think what he was trying to do, and he's very genre bending and turning things on their head.
Yeah.
And
sorry.
That's okay. And it's the reason why it turned out it did. Now, I think if this movie came out 10 years ago, I think the reaction would have been completely different, because we're not swamped with SJW nonsense during that time period. So,
actually, DC was not that's the thing. DC was getting the same crap because they had turned Renee Montoya, who was a lesbian Hispanic, into the question. They made Blue Beetle into a young Hispanic. They were getting the same thing. Batwoman came on and she was a lesbian. They were getting the same the same kind of reaction, but then they started writing them into decent stories and it didn't matter.
But overall, I think what we have is you have the O.J. Simpson White Bronco chase. That is the seriously.
I love comics is going SJW. According to some people, I've been an SJW cuck for a long time. So
according to some people, I am simply I'm one simply because I'm a liberal.
A lot of it, in which everyone's agreeing on, which I find funny about this, is the whole thing with Poe and Holdo, and that to me was just some atrociously bad writing and plot that they introduced into the story, because they could have done something very cool and made it this 2.5 hour freaking space battle or something where they're trying to escape the I would say Empire, but it's the New Order.
Yeah, well, here's my problem with problems that I've been hearing about that. Hodor or Hodor,
hold the door.
Hodor. That's actually what I thought.
Admiral Hodor.
They named her Hodor. Really? After his death, they named her Hodor. But what I kept on wondering is, why would an admiral be talking to the pilot? Why wouldn't the admiral be talking to the general, who would be talking to whatever commander who would be talking to the pilot? Why are we expecting the admiral to bow down and say anything to Poe? He's the freaking pilot.
Yeah.
Just saying, even, I mean,
even like the functional equivalent of a CAG in this movie.
I guess I don't
the CAG in any
well, he's a commander, so that
okay. Well, still, he'd be talking to Leia while the admiral was saying
she was laid out though.
I don't need to explain myself to you. These are the orders. Go.
Yeah,
so that's all that needed to be done. I'm sorry, but maybe I'm not in the military, so I don't know.
We would have had a completely different movie.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. In competent naval operations, and let's face it, this is a naval operation. In competent naval operations, the admirals will create.
Have a good night, Leonardo.
Will create the the strategy, the overall goal. This fleet will go here and do this. And then they will transmit this plan, transmit these orders to their subordinate captains, who are themselves in charge of the ships. The captains will then send this information down the line to their fighter commander, who's in charge of all of the fighters. You know, not just a single pilot, but you know, these guys are in control of every single pilot on a ship if they have, you know, pilots, or to the escort ships under their command, and so on and so forth. From what I understand, number one, this particular admiral did nothing of the sort. She didn't explain the strategy to her subordinate captains.
Oh, I agree.
Right.
That was brought up in the comments as well. She didn't tell the plan. Why don't you tell us your plan? That way we can execute it.
Well, I know why she didn't tell the plan, because plot. They needed to have Finn and Rose to be able to go and do something. And that's why she didn't tell the plan.
And if
I'm rewatching Lost. And Lost, like, everything could be solved if they would just say one more sentence.
Yeah.
Because they always, well, I can't tell you that right now. I'll tell you when it's convenient to the plot. I'm like, tell them right now. That way you don't have this is like Three's Company on a mysterious island. It's all misunderstanding. Shut the freaking up and tell people what's going on. But anyway, and yeah, if she told the plan.
So even if Poe was a commander, and even if he was the senior fighter pilot in the rebel fleet, he still wouldn't be having the conversation with the fleet admiral that he is demanding to have. It doesn't make any sense. So on the one hand, she's being an asshole for holding the plan back and not telling any of her subordinate commanders. And on the other hand, he's being an asshole for walking up to his boss's boss and saying, well, why the hell aren't you telling me anything? Well, because her reaction, which from which I understand is some variant of, I don't have to explain myself to you. Yeah, well, she's right. She doesn't. But she would have to explain herself to the people immediately under her.
Yeah. I agree. I completely agree that she should have told the plan. Okay, I do. This is not the SJW stuff, but it popped into my head, so I want to talk. Does anybody else find it creepy that they revived Leia's cold, dead corpse in the middle of the movie? I was like, oh God, that's
I thought they were actually going to kill her off just because, you know, Carrie Fisher has.
But the way they did it.
Oh geez, that was
Jack. I know you're okay with spoilers, but do you want this spoiled?
Oh, is that the place where she does the Superman thing and breathes in space and flies back in? Yeah, I know about that already.
She goes into space and you see her face and it's all icy and cold, and then she opens her eyes and dun dun dun, and she like, oh, that's such bad taste. Oh, why'd you do that? Did you do this before or after? Because it just like
I'm pretty sure it was before.
My personal theory. Hold on just a second. The rapper 10,000. No, she wasn't. She was not the token Asian character. Rose Tico was not because you have to be an Asian to be a token Asian.
She's American.
And she's, for number one, the character is not from Earth, which means she can't be from Asia.
Yeah, that's very true.
But one thing that America cannot be Hispanic.
Yes.
But what I was about to say,
what was it? I actually thought in Phantom Menace, those the traitors. Everybody was like, they're making fun of Asians. I'm like, you look at those ugly fucking Asian aliens, and you saw Asians. I think you're the one that's making fun of.
Well, another thing too is that what a lot of people don't take into consideration is that these are playing overseas in Asian markets. So by having an Asian character in there, they're not doing it because of diversity. They're doing it to appeal to an Asian market.
Of course, yeah. Well, that is going to happen.
Yes.
Welcome to the new world, ladies and gentlemen. Where
exactly, and that's the reason why Rose was in that movie.
And thank you for finding the one Asian I didn't go, wow, she's hot.
I honestly think that what happened with Leia was they were setting it up. I mean, you just look at what happened. You got Leia suddenly becoming this a Force user capable, without any hint prior. She's a Force user capable of rescuing herself from the vacuum of space. and Luke sacrifices himself. I'm thinking this was decided and filmed and already in the can when suddenly Carrie Fisher dropped dead of a heart attack.
And she's going to be but the thing is, we knew that she was a Force user from Empire Strikes Back. She didn't do anything in return.
But we haven't seen a thing as far as training.
But that doesn't mean she doesn't. Of course, they could have put it in the title crawl that basically said, hey, guys, you remember the last movie? Yeah. This is the next
Somebody
one.
could have mentioned it just offhandedly, you know? But now
the
here
title
they
crawl
are.
was useless for backstory for what happened between the two films. It really was. There was a movie before, and this is the new one.
And yes, the Rose and Finn subplot was a complete waste. Sorry.
So
really
here they are.
It was.
They've completed filming. Carrie Fisher just dropped dead of a heart attack. Mark Hamill is perfectly alive, but you've just killed his character.
Yeah, I know.
If you were the director, wouldn't you have gone, hold on, guys.
Reshoot.
We need to do a couple of reshoots.
Yeah.
And fixed it so that Luke didn't die at the end and that Leia died in the vacuum of space.
Well, there's a joke about them going and he was just teleporting to the sauna on the planet after that very hard battle, or a very hard night of using his force powers or whatever.
So there you go, true believers, another chapter of our live stream. This one could be divisive because of the fact that we brought up, are we chasing ghosts? That's a touchy subject with some people around these parts. And I understand, especially with this movie, because there are pieces and parts that I think are dead on social justice warrior style. But does that mean all of it was? Let me know in the comments below what you think. Also, of anything else we talked about. The Admiral Hodor, as a matter of fact. Don't forget to click like, share, of course, and hit that notification bell and subscribe. Even if you're subscribed, hit the notification bell again, because I hear some people aren't getting notified. This is the way we make our living, so if you don't mind, the link's in the description below. Go on over to Patreon, drop $1 in the till. Help us keep our lights on and help us keep making videos for you. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.